Hello everybody and welcome back to another video. Now in today's episode we're going to be taking another nostalgia trip back to the early 2000s to explore MSN TV. This right here was Microsoft's short-lived attempt at getting into your living room because they were already in your office and your home office and maybe even your pocket, so this just seemed like the next thing they're going to try and conquer. But it didn't last long, and the history behind this thing is kind of interesting, and of course we're going to dive into that today. This right here you could consider an internet appliance because it allows you to browse the web, send and read email, even use MSN Messenger right from the comfort of your couch on your TV, which, I think that's pretty awesome. And if you thought it was awesome back in 2004 and had $200 to spend, you could walk away with the all-new MSN TV 2. And I do mean all new because even though this box has been opened before, this device itself has never been used. There's still a factory seal on the device's shrink wrap, which, I think that's pretty awesome. And thanks to today's sponsor, Linode, I was able to acquire this and showcase it on the channel, so thank you guys. But before we do that, I thought it would be nice to talk about the history of this device because, as I said, it is rather interesting. And part of the reason for that is MSN TV can trace its roots all the way back to Web TV, which started in the mid-90s by another company that was not affiliated with Microsoft at all, and they did their own thing for a couple years, and then in 1997 Microsoft decided to buy them out. And they kept the Web TV name for a few years before deciding to merge it into the MSN ecosystem because, they already had MSN, well, it was called MSN Hotmail by that time, MSN Messenger, so MSN TV seemed like a natural choice. Now this right here is manufactured by RCA, and they were the exclusive manufacturer of both the MSN TV 2 and the original MSN TV box. Prior to Microsoft rebranding Web TV as MSN TV, you had boxes from Sony and RCA and a few other people, but then they just decided to work with RCA exclusively for MSN TV. And the other thing about this box that is significantly different from the original MSN TV box, and by that I mean like the packaging, not the box itself. Obviously there are differences with the box itself, but the packaging here is more branded to look like an MSN product. The original version looked just like an RCA set-top box. You had their massive logo on it. It really just said MSN TV like down here at the very bottom, like as a side note. And they kind of reversed that here where you have RCA's logo just down here at the bottom like, oh yeah, by the way, it's manufactured by RCA. The other neat thing about this box is that it's actually x86 based as opposed to the MIPS boxes that came before it. So that means that you could theoretically run a desktop operating system on this thing. And in fact, somebody did that sometime in the mid to late 2000s. There's a guy who has a whole guide on getting Linux on this thing, and he used it to set up a cluster of MSN TV 2 boxes, which I find pretty hilarious, and perhaps that's something we'll dive into in a future video. Maybe not making a cluster of these things, unless I can find like a bunch of them, but it would be cool to get Linux, and who knows, maybe even Windows installed on this thing. Although it technically does have Windows installed on it because this thing is based on Windows CE, as you can see right here. It's got 128 megs of RAM, 64 megs of flash memory, and it lists supported image formats, media players. It's got Internet Explorer 6.0 technology. Oh yes, of course, because there's no better web browser you could put in this thing. And this is what it comes with. You've got MSN TV, this is the actual box itself, you got your wireless keyboard and a remote. And while we're talking about what's on the box, we should mention this chart up here because this is rather important because it's talking about the two separate ways that you can hook this thing up to your network, or rather if you have a network or if you don't have a network, because it supports both. One of the ways Microsoft marketed the MSN TV was to people who didn't have a computer at all and just wanted a basic device to browse email and browse the web. So in fact they actually advertised it as like, oh, if you don't want to go through the complex setup process of getting a computer and all that, you can just use your TV that you're watching this ad on right now and buy this MSN TV 2 box, hook it up to your phone line, and you'd have to pay $21.95 a month for the service. There was a monthly service fee. Unfortunately, there was also a monthly service fee even if you had an existing existing internet connection at your house. So if you had like a DSL connection, you could just hook this up to your router, and you'd have to pay $9.95 a month. So it was significantly cheaper, but it's still kind of annoying that they made, you know, a service fee, because of course everything has to be a subscription service, right? Even back in 2004. And I guess we'll just take a look at the back of the box very briefly as well. It just highlights those two same connection methods, goes into a little bit more detail about them, and it also mentions how if you plug this into your existing network and had a Windows PC with like a video file or a piece of music on it, you could actually stream that to this box and watch that movie or listen to that music right from your TV, which is pretty nice. Yeah, let's go ahead and open this thing up and take a look at what it has to offer for, you know, the first time since it left the factory. So right here is, I assume, the keyboard. Let's go ahead and just verify that. I don't really see what else it could be. The box is, there we go. So yeah, here's the keyboard. I really like this too because it's branded, like you've got the MSN TV logo like right up there at the top. It says RCA down here too. We'll go ahead and take it out of this wonderful, really loud plastic wrap here. So yeah, there it is. Now you see you have specified buttons as well, like home, mail, messenger, search, so you could just easily get access to some of the major components of MSN TV. Aside from that, it's just a standard QWERTY keyboard. It kind of looks like it's designed for you to be able to like hold it like this. You got these grips on the side, so that's kind of nice. And you see you've got the shrink wrap over the IR sensor there, or IR blaster. So yeah, that's kind of neat. It definitely shows you this thing hasn't been used before. Oh, are there batteries in here? Oh my gosh. If there are, these are probably like corroded beyond. That's surprising. I literally cannot get that open. I think there are batteries in here, and they're probably pretty corroded. But you see we still have the tab there. That's surprising that they put batteries in here. They're usually like separate, because this is gonna like, oh my god, yeah, that is not coming out at all. Oh, I think here we go. All right, let's see. Oh no, they're totally fine. Okay, let's see. They're probably long expired, I'm sure. But yeah, they are alkaline batteries. They have not corroded, which is quite oh no, they have. I can see some corrosion right there. I was gonna say, I did expect them to be a lot worse. Rocket Plus alkaline batteries. Never heard of this brand before. There you go, March of 2006. So yeah, these are definitely, or is that 2008? Yep, that's definitely 2008. March of 2008. That is, so yeah, I'm gonna have to throw these away. Let me go and let me do that really quick. I mean, the terminals themselves do not look bad at all. They've got like no corrosion on them, even on the terminals that weren't, you know, protected by the little pull tab here. So that is that's pretty nice. So we'll go ahead and pop in some known good batteries. We've also got your cables in here. So this is 1/2 of the power cable. To set that aside, we've got your RCA cables here, which, oh, they actually have them labeled. Look at that. You know, if you didn't know what each one of those did. And I think this is the, oh, here's your phone line. Which I actually, you know what, I could probably use this for a vintage phone I'm trying to hook up in my house. That's pretty nice. We'll get that, we'll just set that aside for now. And here is the remote, which has batteries taken out of it already, which is, you know, how it's supposed to be usually. But yeah, so there you go. Looking pretty good. So it kind of looks like a standard RCA like appliance remote from this time, because I've seen this design before. They're just usually black instead of gray here. So they've made it gray, and they've put MSN TV 2 up there at the top, and you know, put in your batteries right here. And this is the main event right here, the MSN TV box itself, removed from the package for the very first time since it was manufactured in 2004. Well, at least, I mean, okay, this is the seal that I was talking about, but it looks like you could just, I guess you could just take it out like that. I mean, the seller said this was, you know, a new open box item, and I mean, judging from the fact that the remote was sealed and the batteries, the little battery tab on the back of the keyboard was still in there, I'd say this was probably brand new and sealed. But either way, here's the device itself. On the front, you've got your indicator lights, MSN TV 2 logo, RCA logo. On the back, you've got your power, your output, RCA, you got S-Video as well, 2 USBs, 1 Ethernet, and 1 phone. Of course, Microsoft has to print their trademark notice on the back here. Is that a sticker? It is, but it's not one that you can easily take off, so we'll have to leave it on there. Oh yes, classic Microsoft with your trademark stuff. Yeah, so that's the TV box itself. And it looks like we've got some other stuff in here too. We've got the other half of the power cable, which is certainly important. Yeah, those are some manuals there that are actually, that's some nice quality paper. Let's go ahead and take a look at what we got here. Oh my gosh, we got one of those splitters. So if you were using like one phone jack and you already had a phone plugged into it, you can just use this to plug the phone and the MSN TV box into it. Yeah, that's, gosh, I haven't seen one of those in a long time. So yeah, this right here is your little safeguards thing, you know, your regulatory stuff that everybody, of course, is going to read. Right here, you've got your product registration card. Important. Register online at rca.com/product registration or return card within 10 days. Well, I think it's a little bit too late for that. Urgent, respond with. They really want you to respond here. So yeah, you got to put in all this information and send it off to RCA Reddit. You know what? I wonder if I should send this in. It's not one of the prepaid ones. Indianapolis, Indiana. Although I don't know, when they always do a PO box like this, you have no idea if this is actually still rented by them. So, you know, if it was their actual like corporate address, you know, you can just look that up and see if they're still there, but it'll be a mystery. I mean, who knows? Someone watching this video right now could be renting this PO box. I don't know. And then right here, you've got your setup guide and your user guide, which is considerably thicker than the setup guide here. So yeah, you've got some. I should try to make scans of these, as I don't know if these. Well, I'll have to see if they've been archived. I don't know if anybody would find these useful, but. Yeah, unpack the box. It tells you, you know, everything. It's always nice when they do this too. That way you know that you got everything. So yeah, we got everything, of course, because well, the thing was brand new. Internet media player, and you know, connect your TV or VCR. How to use all that antenna stuff. Yeah. Really exciting stuff, guys. Remote programming codes. This is for you to, you know, program the remote to also control your TV. You see you've got the TV power button up there. So yeah, that's definitely something you're going to want to do if you use this thing as your main, you know, TV entertainment device. So yeah, that's your setup guide. Your user guide here is probably just going to go through, gosh, this thing is, how many pages is this? This is 70 pages. Or I guess 71 pages counting this last one here. Let's just flip to a random page in here. Using Windows Media Player. In the movie theater, a projectionist runs the projector so that you can relax and watch the movie. On MSN TV, the media player is your projectionist. It's always ready to play video clips and music, whether you select these from a web page, an email, or your home network. Really great analogy there, Microsoft. I think that clears up what Windows Media Player is for everybody who didn't know what it is from the name. And yeah, so that's your little user's guide. So I think it's about time we plug this thing into our TV and see what we can still do with it here in 2022. And speaking of things you can do in 2022, Linode. You can do a lot with them in 2022, like hosting a website, game server, custom MSN TV server, we'll talk about that later, and so much more. Their Linux-based virtual machines help millions of people with their cloud computing needs every single day. And with their wide selection of one-click apps, you can get up and running in no time with a WordPress site, Terraria server, or even your own private VPN. But that only scratches the surface of what you can do with them, because if it runs on Linux, it runs on Linode, starting at just $5 per month. Even better, as a thank you for watching this video, Linode is giving everyone watching right now a free $100 credit that you can use on any of their cloud computing services for 60 days if you sign up through my link down below. With that kind of money, you can get 2 months of a quad-core Linode with 8 GB of RAM and 160 GB of SSD storage for completely free. So be sure to check them out and tell them I sent you. And huge thanks again to Linode for making today's video possible. Alright, she's plugged in, And let's see what happens. One thing I should mention that's very important, the service that you would pay monthly for this thing was killed off back in 2013. So it's going to be interesting to see what you can still do with this, or if it just immediately asks you like, hey, you need to register for an account and start paying. And it looks like we're at this welcome screen. Just says the following pages will help you register for the MSN TV service. So it looks like it's going to jump right into the registration. Let's hit OK or continue. Learning to use the keyboard. Follow these steps to practice using the keyboard. Find the yellow box on the screen. Use the arrow keys on the keyboard to move the yellow box around. Okay. So it just tells you, you know, how to use that little brief tutorial there. And yeah, we can just use like the keyboard to go through this. You don't have to use the remote. That's the nice thing about it. So we're going to say I'll connect using an existing broadband connection. And no broadband cable detected. All right, well, let me actually plug this into my network. I'm sure it's going to fail again. It's playing some pretty nice music here. You see the connected light on the box came on. And yeah, unable to connect. Is this really all you can do? Like, is there no way to just browse the menus and everything on this? This does support wireless too, by the way. Oh, you need to have a USB wireless adapter attached. Okay, so it doesn't have like native wireless support to where there's like a wireless adapter built in. Alright, welcome back. So it's definitely been a decent amount of time since the last clip, and I just want to update you guys on what we've got going on here, because this was quite the rabbit hole that I had to go down, and I still don't think we're going to be able to get this thing online, but we're going to try anyway because there's no harm in trying. The first thing that I discovered, and the great news, is that there's actually a pretty decently active community around these devices, specifically the Web TV and MSN TV Gen 1 boxes. That kind of seems to be more of their focus. And they've created a couple of custom servers that you can download, set up yourself, and use to get boxes like these back online in the modern day, which I think is awesome. However, it appears that these pieces of server software were designed for the Web TV boxes and the MSN TV Gen 1 box. On the website where this stuff is hosted, or at least where there's information about it, there's no mention of MSN TV 2. Now, as far as I can tell, the Web TV line of boxes and the first gen MSN TV box are relatively similar in terms of hardware and software. The user interface is almost identical between them, but MSN TV 2 is where things started to change. Obviously, we've mentioned the updated hardware, but the user interface is pretty different. Obviously, the core functionality of browsing the web, checking email, all that stuff is the same, but there was definitely an overhauled user interface on the MSN TV 2, and it very well could be that these boxes connected to an entirely separate server than the MSN TV Gen 1 and the Web TV boxes did. So I don't think that these custom servers are going to be able to even accept a connection from this, but we're going to try anyway. The way these custom servers work, you can use a Web TV viewer, and that's kind of like an emulator where you can download it to your computer and you can start it up and you can just connect to the custom server from there. But if you want to get a physical box to connect to these servers, that's where this whole setup over here comes in. So this is a Raspberry Pi running DreamPi, which allows you to play Sega Dreamcast games online in the modern day. So the Web TV community took DreamPi, modified it a bit, and then released a special version of it that specifically focuses on getting these Web TV boxes online. And that's what I have installed on here. So what you do is get a phone cable, plug one end into this modem, one end into the modem on the back of the MSN TV box, and you connect from the MSN TV box through dial-up. It will dial into this modem here, and then because the Raspberry Pi is connected via Ethernet, it is able to then connect to the custom server. So we're basically tricking the MSN TV box into thinking that it's dialing into the official Microsoft server, even though that connection is being rerouted through the Raspberry Pi here to our custom server. Now, to make this work, you can't just use a regular phone cable. You have to add a voltage inducer to it, which I've done right here. Now, the reason why we have to do this is because this phone cable cable needs to be live for this connection to work properly, which means it has to have voltage running through it. Now, normally this is accomplished just by plugging your phone cable into a phone jack on your wall, and assuming you have a POTS line anyway, you'll be getting voltage directly from the central office. In this case, we obviously don't have that, so we have to supply our own voltage, and I'm using this 16-volt DC power supply to accomplish that. Now, the recommended way, at least as far as I can tell, in the Sega Dreamcast community to do this is by using a 9-volt battery. But to make that work, you need to have a capacitor and a resistor attached to the phone line as well, which I don't have either of those that will work with this, and of course ordering them would prolong the release of this video, so that's why we're just using this. This is what the YouTube user Mattman used to get his web TV box online, and by the way, I gotta thank him. His channel has been a huge help in setting up a lot of this stuff. He's actually, as far as I can tell, one of the active people in the web TV community, so yeah, I'll have his channel down below if you want to go check his stuff out. So he used the 15-volt power supply. This is a 16-volt power supply, which is the closest thing I had to it, so we're just going to try it and see how well it works. Now, a little bit at how I did this here, for anyone who's curious. So I went ahead and stripped back the jacket here, at least in this section here on the phone cable, and that exposes your 4 wires, 2 tip and 2 ring. I took the red ring wire, cut it, and then stripped back the ends of both of those, and then I cut the DC end off of the power supply, and then you're just left with a positive and negative lead, stripped those back, and then connected the positive and negative lead to each side of the red ring wire here. So there you go, it's as simple as that. And now when I plug this in, which I've got the AC end over here, so yeah, we'll just plug that into the wall, this should work flawlessly, at least in theory. We'll see how well that this actually works. So we're gonna go ahead and plug in our one end of the phone cable into the USB modem here. We'll take the other end and plug it into the MSN TV box. The only thing is, I don't know if this modem is actually going to work. The one that DreamPie recommends you use is the one that they actually sell on their website. They have this modem that has a voltage inducer built in, which is super awesome for those people who don't want to, you know, go through this whole setup process here. But the web TV community apparently uses, at least Mattman uses this Dell modem. That's what he used in his video. So I have no idea if this one's going to actually work. We're just going to try it anyway. Let me swap over to the MSN TV output here. And just to show you, I've got the server here. This one is from Zephy, or Zephy, however you pronounce it. This is his custom server. It is listening on this IP address here. So we're going to go to MSN TV and let's just try to go through this setup process here. And we'll see if this actually works. I will be extremely amazed. Why am I not able to go down here? What's the... Oh, there we go. I was just blocking the receiver there. Okay, so I will connect using a phone line. And let's just see what happens. It's dialing toll-free number. Disconnected. Line in use. Your internet media player was unable to connect because another phone on the same line is in use. Well, at least it's doing something. That would not, you know, display if this was... I wonder why it says another line is in use. You know what? Let me try to restart the Raspberry Pi. Let's just unplug this here. Now, the other problem is, some of you guys may have noticed, this is a Raspberry Pi 1 Model B, okay? Like the original version. And I don't know if this image, the custom DreamPie image here, is entirely compatible with it. I wasn't able to find information on that. It very well might be too new for it. It installs on it and it boots up just fine, and I was able to configure it fine. But this could also be an issue. The only Raspberry Pis I have are this one and a Raspberry Pi 4 Model B. Now, the problem with the Raspberry Pi 4 is I think it's too new for this image, because I tried to put it on there and it just kept giving me a bunch of errors, which appear to relate, when I looked them up online, to the fact that the image had to be updated. Anyway, let's go ahead and just try this again. We're getting no output from the server here. It is dialing. It just disconnected again, line in use. But yeah, if we go back to the screen here, you can see that, yeah, we got nothing. Now, if I were to connect the web TV viewer here, so let's start viewer 2.5, just to show you how this works here. We'll just hit OK, and then we just change the IP address here to 192.168.0.129, and the port is, I believe, 1650 for HTTP. So we'll do 1650, and we hit connect, and you see now the server starts outputting, and we log in. Here we go. So we will also try this with the other server. Let me just try one more thing here. Service routes.sh, and then the IP is 192.168.0. Not a slash. 192.168.0. And I believe it is 129. 192.168.0.129. So this is how you change the service routes so that it actually routes the connection to the correct IP address. And there we go. It's been updated. I mean, it says the line is in use. At least that's different from saying that it wasn't able to find a connection at all. Maybe it's the modem. It could very well be the modem. But I do want to go into these these options here and just see, I mean, okay, yeah, tone dialing. We're definitely not on pulse dialing. Other dialing options and troubleshooting. Turn off. Okay, we definitely want to turn on audible dialing. I would like to hear the DTMF tones. Oh, here we go. Choose whether to hang up. Normally your internet media player will disconnect from the MSN TV service when another phone in your house is picked up. This is called off hook detection. To have your internet media player stay connected when another phone in your house is picked up, choose turn off. Oh, turn off hook detection off. So this is if somebody picks up the phone, it will disconnect. You got your access numbers. This is how you change it to DSL if you were using, if you already had a broadband connection. And okay, let's just try that and let me listen to what's going on here. It doesn't do anything. Okay, so it's probably thinking the line is in use because it's not getting any dial tone. I can try the other server here. Nothing. Again, absolutely nothing. And again, we're not getting any output from the server at all. Let me swap back here. We got nothing. And again, just to show you how this is normally supposed to work, if we start up the viewer here, and we then change our IP address to, again, 192.168.0.129. And the port in this case, it's going to be actually 1650. We'll just leave it on that. Hit connect, and there you go. So this is what's supposed to happen. It's supposed to output all this. It's supposed to let you know, hey, I've got a connection, what it's sending to the client. And this is the, that custom server emulator here. So yeah, it's unfortunate. Oh yeah, and also this must have been updated recently because when you hit search, it goes to Action Retro's frogfind.com, which didn't exist until a couple years ago. So yeah, that's pretty cool. But yeah, gosh, maybe I should try another power supply. Like, let me just, salvage a power supply and, maybe the voltage is too high on this one. But, I mean, again, Mattman used a 15-volt power supply, and he said that a friend of his used like a 20-volt power supply, and it worked just fine. But we're just, again, not getting any dial tone. So I would think, judging from that, the problem is with this USB modem here. You see, it's actually not even showing like that, that network light there isn't blinking at all. I think this is probably the issue. In fact, okay, check this out. I just unplugged the voltage inducer from the wall, and now MSN TV says no phone line detected. We'll just try it again here. So the voltage inducer is working. So yeah, I think our culprit here is definitely this USB modem, which sucks because I don't have another one. This is the only USB modem that I've got. So I'm just going to have to acquire that one that Mattman recommended, or perhaps the DreamPi one with the built-in voltage inducer, and just try that out. And again, that might not even work. We might still not be able to get this thing to connect to the server because it's just incompatible, which honestly is what I think is going to happen anyway. But I just wanted to kind of demo this and let you guys see what I've been dealing with behind the scenes here. This video definitely has taken an interesting turn. It sucks that we couldn't explore this thing a lot more. And I know that I could just use the web TV viewer to explore the server software, but honestly at this point I think that's just better saved for a separate video. And honestly, it would be even better if I could acquire like an older web TV box that I know was going to work with this server and just try that out. That would be even better than just using the web TV viewer. So I'm definitely going to be on the lookout for that. This is definitely not the last time you guys will hear me talk about web TV and MSN TV. At least I hope so. But for now, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up, get subscribed, all that good stuff. And as always, I want to thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.